Hey, look what we have found. A big sound in a small town, far away from the bright lights. They're making music every night. Discover what is all around. A big sound, a big sound in a small town. Big sound, small town. A really big sound. Big sound, small town.
You're listening to Big Sound Small Town with Sandy Carlton.
Hi, and welcome to Big Sound Small Town. I'm your host, Sandy Carlton, and this is a podcast about the lives and stories of the musicians, writers, artists, and their associates that have their roots in the small towns and communities across America. If you like what you hear, tell somebody. Enjoy.
Asheville girls are free as a mountain breeze. They're a little bit hippie and they live the way they please. They wear cowboy boots and a string of pearls, and they're a little bit wild, those Asheville girls. You go stepping out in the cool night air, you hear music playing in the barroom there. When they stamp your hand and you walk on through, you see an Asheville girl looking right at you. Asheville girls are free as a mountain breeze. They're a little bit hippie and they live the way they please. They wear cowboy boots and a string of pearls, and they're a little bit wild, those Asheville girls. So you drink a little, smoke a little, talk a while. Organic beer, a Mona Lisa smile. And now you're getting too high to drive back home. You're thinking you might not spend the night alone. As the conversation is winding down, you belly up to get another round. And when you get back with 2 mugs of brew, now there's 2 Asheville girls and they don't want you. 'Cause Asheville girls are free as a mountain breeze. They're a little bit hippie and they live the way they please. They wear cowboy boots and a string of pearls, and they're a little bit wild, those Asheville girls. Yeah, they're a little bit wild, those Asheville girls. Another one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
What should I do?
Rapture.
I'm going to do that.
I just
Okay.
want it on tape.
Okay, ready then?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Though my life has not been perfect, I didn't think I was all that bad. I never went to church too much, but now I wish I had. Always thought I'd slip into heaven. Oh, but I was wrong, I fear, 'cause it's the day after the rapture and I'm still here. My wife is gone, my kids are gone, There's nobody home, just me. But there's a whole lot of preachers and politicians here to keep me company. Lord, I'm dreading that tribulation. I think it's gonna be a bad year. It's the day after the rapture, and I'm still here. Now my mama, she tried to tell me, Phil, straighten up and live life right. My wife tried to get me to go to church. She read the Bible every night. Whoa, but I would never listen. I'd just drink me another beer. Now it's the day after the rapture, and I'm still here. Yeah, my wife is gone, my kids are gone, and there's nobody home, just me. But there's a whole lot of preachers and politicians here to keep me company. Lord, I'm dreading that tribulation. I think it's gonna be a bad year. It's the day after the rapture, and I'm still here. It's the day after the rapture, and I'm still here. How's that? Hi folks, I'm Phil Ruff. I'm a musician, play songs for folks, and sometimes I try to write songs, and occasionally one of them's pretty good. And happy to be here with you today, and looking forward to talking to my buddy Sandy Carlton.
All right, Phil, I'm glad to have you here too. As many people know, or may not know, I hold Phil in high regard as both a person and a musician and a songwriter. So I'm glad to have him here. We've tried to make this happen on several different occasions during the COVID, but it's lightened up, so I'm glad to have him finally here in front of me.
Yeah, it messed up a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it
didn't
did.
But,
So
we're keeping the faith. It's going to get better.
have you been faring okay during this time?
I have actually got tested, and I was okay, and
I've tested.
got my. I went to a bandana because I kept forgetting my mask,
Yeah.
so I got this tied around my neck, so
Did,
I can't forget it.
Have you been able to work during this time?
Actually, I have been. The wineries in North Carolina are still able to be open. I'm not exactly sure why. It has something to do with the agricultural aspect of it. But yeah, I've been able to continue playing some wineries and trying to be careful there too, but luckily have been able to do a few jobs, yeah.
All right, Phil, step our listeners through your musical journey.
Well, gosh, that started a long time ago, didn't it, Sam? Like
Yeah, a
with you.
long time ago, yeah.
I guess when I heard the Beatles is when I put up the baseball glove, and wish I'd picked up a guitar then, but I didn't. I picked up a pair of drumsticks instead, and started out doing that, and played through high school. And
As a drummer?
as a drummer, and after a while we got another drummer, and I just went up front and sang. But when I went to college, I got a silver tone acoustic guitar before I went to college, which is the reason I didn't do real well my first 2 years in college.
Yeah, that'll do it.
I was up in the room playing songs.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, when I got out of college, I worked for about 9 months at a real job, and then joined a band, and a band called Wooden Apple. They were good musicians, and we had an enormous truck that got about 3 miles to the gallon, and 5 guys and 2 roadies in a 2 motel rooms. So it was lovely. What can I say?
Sounds like it was, yeah.
Yeah, we did it a couple of years, but then I got in a duo with a lady, Jennifer Prince, and we. It was much more practical because at that time, a lot of the hotels would get duos. You know, we got electronic drummer.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we could actually sound kind of like a band.
Right.
And we did that about 10 years. So that was a really good training ground.
That's a long time. Pick up a lot of songs during that time.
4 hours a night, 6 nights a week.
Woo.
Year after year, for 10 years, and not a lot of breaks. So, yeah, you know, you really learn a lot about working out songs and theory and things like that.
What kind of places did you play with her?
We played, for the most part, we played nice places. We played the Breakers Hotel in Myrtle Beach a lot. We were kind of like the house group there. Played the Airport Hilton in New Orleans several times, went down there.
So you took it out pretty far. You just didn't stay like in Myrtle Beach.
No, we played all over the South, really,
Okay.
Virginia. And then we went to Nashville to hopefully seek fame and fortune as songwriters. And made about half the money playing in Nashville that we would have made anywhere else.
Sure.
But anyway, we were up there.
You were
about 2 or 3
writing
years.
by then, right?
Yeah, I was trying to write. At some point, I dabbled in it, you know, even in high school. But you know, you're playing, and you've got all you're doing is playing.
Yeah.
So you got a lot of time, and
Sure.
I started writing, but you know, the songs that I was writing at that time weren't really very good, quite honestly. In retrospect, I guess I had to spend some time and learn a few things.
You ever do any of those songs these days?
Not any of those. The first good song I remember ever writing was Barefoot Boy.
Yeah, that's a good song.
And that was kind of like sort of at the close of that period, you know. And I still play that one sometimes.
Okay. Now, you're in Nashville trying to make it as a songwriter. So what happens? What happens next?
Well, I didn't make it as a songwriter. But what can I say? We would stay there a while, and then we'd go play some more and come back. But it was that, you know, I think that's part of a lot of people's experience.
Sure.
You know, I mean,
I agree.
It's a tough thing to try to do, to go up there and stand out among all those really great writers.
Right.
You know, but after 10 years, we did break up, and I did a single act for a while, and continued the songwriting.
Right.
And then at some point, I joined a group called Mama Said. Have you ever heard of those?
Somewhat familiar with those guys. Yeah.
Which was one of the best things I ever did, and you know, Sandy was in that group as well.
I was.
And we're still proud of.
We
did some good stuff.
We did do a lot of good stuff. Yeah, we did. All right, we'll come back to this in just a minute. During that time you was songwriting and living in Nashville, did you take a song to Arthur Smith? What?
Yeah, I did at some point. As a matter of fact, I think it might have been earlier. It was a gospel song.
Were you at that time? You worked with the Moody Brothers at some point, didn't you?
Yeah. Actually, there was a guy named Bill Connor who had a studio in Rutherford.
I recorded at his studio when I was in Peeler's Mill.
Bill was very good, and somehow the Moody Brothers heard about him, and they heard about me at the same time, because I recorded a lot of stuff there. And so we both went to Charlotte. He actually engineered for them, and Bill was really good.
Yeah, Bill was good.
And I recorded a bunch of stuff with him.
Actually,
but yes, Carlton and I, you know, Carlton Moody was a songwriter. We
Right.
wrote several songs together. He actually did one later. You know, he went to France.
Right.
And got up. What was that group that Sneaky Pete used to play with them?
I know.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
They did a revived version. That's great when I'm talking about a group and I can't remember their name. I want to say like New Riders of the Purple Sage or something like that. It wasn't them.
No, I know who you're talking about.
But they did a song that Carlton and I wrote called Zydeco Ball.
Yeah, we used to do Zydeco Ball some. Yeah, it's a great song.
Which once again wasn't a hit. So,
but
I'm consistent in that, you know.
All right, well, tell me the Arthur Smith story.
Okay, well, I was in Charlotte, and you know, at that time, Arthur Smith was administrating Johnny Cash's catalog, and he had a lot to do with a lot of gospel. I had a gospel song I'd written called 33 Years, and I wanted to pitch it to him. So I went by Arthur Smith Studios. It was there on Monroe Road. You've probably been there.
Yeah.
And he was back there, and so they said, "Yeah, we'll see if he'll see you." And I went back there, And I'd seen him on Arthur Smith and the Cracker Jacks. He's always really, laughable, really gregarious and everything. He was all business, man. And I had a little cassette tape which shows you how long ago that was. Anyway. But it was nice. He was just, like I say, he didn't crack a smile. He was all business. And I gave him the tape, and he played it, and we sat there and listened to it.
Was that awkward?
Well, I don't remember. It's been so long ago. But I do remember what he said. The song got finished, and he said, well, I'll say one thing for you. You don't talk all the way through songs the way most songwriters do. So apparently he was used to people playing songs, and while he was trying to listen, they were trying to explain the song. But he turned down the song, but he liked it enough. He said, if you feel free to come back and play something again. But I didn't really have a lot of gospel tunes. And so that was my experience with Mr. Smith.
Okay. At some point, before Mama said our paths crossed too, I think I was leaving a band and you were coming in maybe as my replacement.
That was a famous band.
It was.
Famous in Kaiser, anyway.
It was a...
Famous in Kaiser, North Carolina. It was called the Peeler's Mill Band.
Yes, it was.
And I took your place, Sandy. I tried to take your place.
I think you probably overachieved at my place. But
I doubt that. But we both played guitar and sang and played some rhythm guitar.
Yeah, so sang some, played some harmonica.
Yeah, and that's one thing I will say. I started playing when I was 14, and I pretty much never quit. And so getting in the band. And one thing about Peeler's Mill is we played a lot.
And actually, as Cleveland County goes, that is a legendary band.
Yeah,
it played a lot and had a lot of music. A lot of good quality musicians came through there.
Sure did, yeah.
Lots.
Baby Ray, good guitar player.
Yes.
And we got to say something about the founder, Louis Ledford.
Louis Ledford. Yeah. Oh, Louis.
Rest his soul.
Rest his soul. One of the things I always remember about Louis was one of his sayings: "If it's too loud, you're too old."
Yeah. Well, one thing I noticed is we got louder and louder as the night went on.
Yeah, we did.
Because the guitar player would turn around and crank it up a little bit. By the end of the night, they couldn't hear me. So I could kind of slack off if I wanted to.
Yeah.
We were loud, man. Especially
at
the place in Kaiser.
Cedar Park,
which unfortunately
has burnt to the ground.
I'm sad to hear that. But gosh, but by the end of the night, we'd be shaking the walls.
Oh, we would. That was a loud place. Yes, it was. Peeler's Mill played loud.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that was a fun time for both of us. All right, so my first encountered you was at Bill's studio. You had recorded a record, and someone had done a colorization of a photo of you that I thought was the coolest thing in the world.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that photo.
And you might have. Did you have kudzu at that time?
That was about the time that I wrote it. Yeah. Now I wish I still had that picture.
Did you record kudzu at some point at Bill's?
Yeah, I did. The very first attempt at recording it, I did there.
Because he played it. He played it for us when we went up there to look about recording there, and he showed us that picture, which to this day I just thought it was just a fabulous picture.
Yeah.
And then he played kudzu, and we were like, we're recording here, man.
That's kind of the deal we had. After I recorded some songs, he said, I tell you what, you can record here for nothing if you'll help me with other people's stuff, It hooked us. We recorded there. Yeah, and he got a good sound there. Now the song kudzu, you may not know this. I was in a band called The Fog.
Yeah, I remember.
We were an Asheville band,
right?
And played a lot up in that area. And there was the radio station up there at the time did a compilation CD of songs from bands from the area.
Right.
And the little version that I had recorded with Bill, our drummer actually submitted that, and we got accepted to be on that compilation CD. And part of the prize for getting selected is you went to Whitewater Studios in Asheville and did a recording of it. And we did a really good recording of kudzu there, which actually got played a good bit. It was kind of a regional
it was.
success. It got played a lot. And that song I've done it a few times actually.
Yeah.
We did it with Mama Said. I believe.
Yeah, we did it.
I think Nancy sang it with Mama Said.
We did it. Yeah, I've done it out on my own. I mean, I like the song. I've always liked the song. But yeah, that was my first introduction to you as an artist. And lo and behold, it crossed paths many times.
We crossed paths, and we're still crossing paths.
We are. We have for a long time.
Yeah. And I hope we continue that.
I do too. So, so did you go to Nashville with those guys?
Not with those guys. Well, kind of. I'm sorry. We had some changes in the band. It kind of morphed from that band into another band.
Right.
And actually, yeah, we did. We met some folks from Nashville who actually brought us up there, put us up in a house, and we stayed up there a while and recorded a few things. And once again, none of them was a hit. So there's that consistency again. But we were up there a couple of years, and it was after I ended up at the end of that 2 years washing dishes in a vegan restaurant and living in a motel room in East Nashville.
Yeah.
And after about 6 or 8 months of that, and the food was good.
I'm sure it was, yeah.
But I said, you know what? I'm going back to North Carolina. And that's actually when I met you guys. And
Yeah, it is.
We got in Mama Said.
I don't remember. I don't remember how I knew you were back. I knew you were living in Nashville. I don't remember how I knew that you were back. But I do remember talking to you and getting you and the dog.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember that. We played for you. We opened
y'all
up for you
kind
guys.
of had a little thing, yeah. And it was like that worked out really good.
Yeah,
I mean, it worked out.
And you know who else was there? It was David Martin, and they had a group, kind of a bluegrass group.
Yes, they
did. What were those guys called? Some of the great players from Cleveland County, actually.
Yeah,
from
they
this
were.
Area.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember that. You know, I had that in my mind right then and there. I was basically, and you knew Randy already by then.
Yeah, I knew Randy. We'd gotten together and played songs a few times.
I was just basically auditioning you for them. I already knew I wanted you in the band.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you were on my side.
Yeah.
That was.
You had to sell Nancy though.
Yeah, we had to sell Nancy. She wanted a bass player, and I couldn't play bass. But you know the thing I loved about that band is everybody in it wrote songs.
They did.
Everybody in it sang. Everybody in it played more than one instrument.
They did.
And it was just a lot of creativity going on, you know. And actually, it was Nancy that suggested that I send that song to Merlefest.
Yeah, all right, let's talk about that too.
You know, I had another gospel song, not the same one that I played for Arthur. And I had played it for her, and then just sort of forgot it because, you know, we didn't do gospel songs.
Right.
But she was thinking about entering something in the, it's called the Chris Austin Song Contest. It's part of Merlefest.
Right.
And she said, you know, you ought to enter that song. There's a gospel category. So she was working at WGWG.
Right.
So we went in there at the time and just sat in front of a mic there in the production room. And I played the guitar and sang. She sang harmony with it. Very simple recording. And we sent it in, and lo and behold, it got picked as a finalist.
Right.
So she went with me up to the festival. And what you do is you go there. You hadn't won yet. You've been selected as a finalist. And there are 4 categories. So the 3 finalists from each of the 4 categories perform, you know, do the song on the Chris Austin stage there. And they got judges, and they got some folks there listening to you. And then they pick the winners of each category, and the winners of each category get to perform that night in front of the whole crowd, basically, on the cabin stage. Anybody who's been to Merlefest will remember that the cabin stage is right there next to the main stage.
It is.
And so, yeah, we got picked and won, and it was a very gratifying experience.
I'm sure. I mean, that's a big time, Phil. I mean, let's think Gillian Welch won that thing too. Same category, I believe.
Yeah.
That's not bad company.
I'm going to start telling people that.
That's not bad company.
Oh, she's great. But yeah, it's and I thank Nancy for suggesting that because I wouldn't have even thought of it.
And the thing is, I was so surprised because I'd never heard the song. You know, we played together, and I've heard tons of songs of yours that you don't play too often, but that was just a whole
Right. Well, you're the same, man. You've written so many songs.
Yeah,
We don't just sit around and play all of them for everybody.
You don't.
But that one has ended up being. I think it is a pretty good song.
Yeah, I think it's a good song too.
It's called Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I'll put a plug in there.
Yeah.
For that.
And you're willing to let somebody still record it this day, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Listen up, all you gospel.
If anybody
fans.
out there's listening does gospel music.
Needs a good gospel song. Carrie.
Yeah, it's open for recording.
It is. It's a good one. He actually, you want to tell them why you kind of have a gospel background. He has other ones too that are every bit as good as the one that won the contest.
Well, you mean about my dad being a Baptist preacher and me going to church 18 times a week from the time I was born?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, I remember we had revivals for 2 weeks in the summer when you're out of school. It's like that's eternity, you know.
So he kind of knows what he's talking about when he writes a gospel song.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time growing up in church and hearing a lot of gospel songs. And that's a good thing.
It is a good thing.
Because, you know, the structure of gospel songs are not unlike pop songs. Usually you have verses and a chorus.
True.
So you listen to that week after week and year after year, and it kind of gets ingrained in you. I think when I started trying to write songs, it really wasn't rocket science, because between all those gospel songs and listening to the radio all the time,
true,
you sort of just had an intuitive feeling about what's involved.
I grew up in a Presbyterian church, and if you've ever been in a Presbyterian church, there's never been a new song written since 1353. So it's not like you get the same good structure that you get in a Baptist church, you know.
But those are good songs.
Those are good songs.
I'm sure.
But my grandmother, I used to sit and play gospel songs with her on her porch while we waited for the house to cool off when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and so I wound up with a pretty big catalog of gospel songs myself.
Well, that's good, you know. And gospel, blues, country, all of it kind of is interrelated.
It is kind of, yeah, it is. It is. All right, I got another story I'm going to have to tell. I'll start this story, and you can finish. Mom said it was in Nashville once, and the rest of us went about our business, went to bed, whatever. But a guy named Doug Trammell and Phil decided they'd go out and hit a karaoke bar. Now, would you like to finish this story?
That's the only time I've ever sung karaoke. But I think I sang a song by Don Williams. Either Don or Willie Nelson. Well, there's nothing real exciting to tell about it.
Except,
Sandy.
I will finish this. He won the money in the contest.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, he won more money than we were getting paid to play, I think, the whole time we were out there.
I must have spent it on beer, and that's
He
why I
probably
don't
did,
remember.
but I remember you and Doug coming back, waking us up. Doug, Phil went down there, and he said, we should go back down there tomorrow. And I remember you saying, man, maybe I need to do this for a living instead of being in a band.
Yeah, well, small town boys from Rutherford County in the big city. So, you know, what do you expect? We were out on the town, and hey, that's the first and only time I've sung karaoke.
Well,
Have you ever done it?
No.
It's kind of cool. You got a thing in front of you with the words. The words go by, so you don't have to worry about remembering.
But
the
you know,
words.
that's not fair for you to win the contest. You're a pro. Of course, it was in Nashville, and I'm sure Nashville was full of pros out there singing.
Yeah,
I'm sure everybody was good.
Yeah, and you know that hotel that we went to, I think I ended up playing there at some time later. You know, it was wasn't it just across the river, the Cumberland River?
I think it was.
And just going into East Nashville, I think where it was.
I think it was. Yeah.
But man, I had forgotten all about that experience, Sandy.
That's a good one, man. I mean, you know, that story stuck with me over the years.
Yeah. Well, and Doug Trammell's in Myrtle Beach now, still playing jazz.
Still playing jazz.
He's great on that stand-up bass.
I actually went over and saw, took a workshop with Mark O'Connor over at Gardner Webb.
Oh, yeah.
And Doug was up there playing up, you know, he was up there playing his stand-up bass.
Was that recently?
Yeah, it was about a year ago.
Oh.
And Mark was nice, and Doug was Doug, you know.
Yeah.
Doug was Doug. So, but Yeah, Doug was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, well, that's a pretty interesting journey you've taken, you know. So, all right, so we're back. Actually, I think you continued on with Mama Said after I was gone, and with pretty good bit of success too, besides just the Merlefest contest winning. I mean, you guys recorded a couple more albums.
We did. Nancy was a lot more of a networker than I was. And actually, she went to Nashville. You know, she was working for WGWG and went up there to the Americana, I guess, convention.
Right.
And met some folks from Colorado who had a record company called Americana Records. Yeah, we did two albums with them.
Actually, did a guy that I play with now, Chris Green. He did some work during that time with you, didn't he?
Oh, Chris is great.
Yeah, I love Chris, man. Chris is great.
Great percussionist and good guy.
Good drummer.
And yeah, we've had some really good folks. Well, Doug Trammell was also a Mama Said alumnus.
Yes, he was. Doug was fabulous.
So we've had a lot of folks, and yeah, and you're still playing with Chris, right?
I do.
And Cleveco.
Yep. If we ever get to play again.
Yeah, if the virus ever goes away, which it's going to.
Well, see, Chris, we would be playing, but Chris has family members that are immune compromised, and he won't take a chance. So
right. Yeah.
But oh yeah, he talks highly of his time there. He just thinks you guys are the greatest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we played a good many festivals. You know, we played the Blue Ridge Barbecue Festival in Tron, which they don't have that anymore.
Yeah, I know they don't.
And
I got
several other festivals.
I got stuck up there this past here recently, trying to get back from Asheville. They'd rerouted things, and I had to come through Tryon and Saluda and all to get back to Shelby.
One of the roads was out or something?
Yeah.
Was it because of the hurricanes?
No, it was because of a wreck that set the road on fire and stuff, and they rerouted. I could touch a tractor trailer out of my window. That's how that road between Saluda and
129.
Yeah,
it's that little 2-lane road that goes from Tron to Saluda.
It's curvy as all get out. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, with big trucks on there.
Oh, it was terrible. And plus, one of them couldn't make the turn and slid off. It was. I spent 3 hours between Saluda and getting back on 74 at Tron.
Yeah.
So
terrible.
Now you working these days? Speaking of Tron, you work up in that area some these days, don't you?
Yeah, they've got there are a few wineries in Polk County, and there's one, Parker Benz, that's sort of, we've adopted each other. I do a single act there a lot, and they're great folks, and they attract a lot of people from all over. I mean, played there last weekend. There were some people there from Boston. There were people there from New Jersey, and they get a lot of folks from Greenville, Spartanburg area.
Oh yeah, that would be pretty easy.
So luckily, I'm playing there a good bit, and I'm also in a duo called Champagne Charlie with a really good guitar player, Devin McInerney, and we play at the Equestrian Center a lot. And even they're slowing down now though, because weather season's slowing down, and of course everything's slowed down because of this health situation that we've got. But I've been fortunate, even in this time, to be able to continue doing some work.
So you basically got two acts going on these days, solo and the Champlain Charlie.
Yeah, and they're both pretty easy. We've been in bands before that, you had to get there 3 hours ahead of time to set up, the speakers and the lights and everything. And this is pretty much just plug in your amp and go for it, and
that's pretty easy.
Convenient. So it's actually a lot of fun.
That's good. Well, you've definitely had an interesting life.
You put it in the past tense.
Oh, I did, didn't I?
Which you probably should, because most of it is in the past tense at this point. But luckily, I feel real lucky that still able to play and do a lot of things.
I'll just use your own words against you. You're just going to live till you die, don't you?
There you go. That was a good song.
That was a good song.
Yeah.
Mama Said favorite songs that Phil wrote that I still enjoy to this day is Live Till I Die.
That's the first song I wrote after joining the band, and I told you guys, I said, after I've been playing with you guys a while, I'll start writing some songs for the band, and I think that fits pretty well.
You did, but that was good. I mean, that's one of my all-time favorites. And of course, one that got overlooked, we did this song, Texana.
Oh, yeah, that was the best thing we ever did.
Oh, Texana. And, you know, somehow it got lost in the shuffle, I think.
It did, and Randy's lead on that was just outrageously good.
That's
Randy
Randy
Saxon,
Saxon,
folks, was in that band, and it was the song itself was good, the playing was great, and that was maybe the best thing we ever. Certainly one of the best things.
I agree.
We need to do a Mama Said podcast sometime.
Yeah, we do.
Get those folks here. And
I think if we can get some of them here, that would be a lot of fun.
If we got everybody that was ever in it, though, we'd fill this room.
That's okay. So. That would be okay. I mean, well, I've also, the two bands I've considered doing was Mama Said and Peeler's Mill, and it'd take that great hall out there to fill Peeler's Mill. Yeah, so.
Absolutely. Because that band went on for what, 15 years or something?
Yeah, it did. Long probably as about any band goes around here, you know, or any band goes anywhere, really.
Well, the Beatles only lasted 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, Phil, I appreciate you coming down here and talking to me.
Thanks, man. I enjoyed it a lot.
Well, I'm glad we finally, after about 3 tries, got this.
We got it. Better late than never.
Better late. All right. Thank you.